Hi, I'm Will Cedric.
I'm Gabe.
And this is Inside the Bot. Hey, Gabe.
How are you doing? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm alright. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I thought Inside the Bot's normally like, it feels to me like an evening show. Yet here we are in the morning recording it. But I guess...
9:30 in the morning. What are we doing?
It's because we're getting old. And you've got...
I get up at 6 these days.
You've got getting up at 6 and you've got a single slipper down there with both feet wedged firmly into
I've
it.
got one of those. Those things are weird.
Loads of chums at Dragon Con are kicking it up and going crazy in costumes with people in cosplay. It's going to be amazing. But we're here, sat, doing Inside the Bot, drinking... At least it's coffee. It's not a cup of tea.
A cup of Joe, because we're doing the American show.
What's Joe?
But they'll understand that. I don't know what it is. I thought it was a guy's name or a girl's name.
Is a cup of Joe a tea or a coffee?
It's a coffee.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to get messed up as in look like a tourist when somebody gives me the wrong drink.
Cup of Joe.
You're not going to end up with a caramel latte, are you, with a cup of Joe?
No, you'll get a truck driver's coffee.
You get a truck driver's coffee. It's crazy stuff. It's nitro
We had
fueled.
a woman in an apron came up to us and gave us a refill.
Oh, that's nice. And her name was
Sandy.
Betty Sue.
No, it was Sandy.
Sandy.
You're thinking the other place we normally go to.
Oh, okay, yeah. What about Randy? That's an actual
You're
name.
thinking of
Don't laugh at
your
that.
Saturday evening.
That's a different evening time. That's my evening time times. Anyway, what's been happening in the shop? You normally say that, but you haven't been saying it, so I'm saying it for you.
So what's been happening in the shop, Gabe?
What's been happening? Nothing. The shop has been...
Excellent news.
We've got a secret project happening in the shop at the moment. And that's all I'm going to say.
That doesn't really make for good podcasting, though.
No, but we'll have some more shop stuff. At the moment, I have got to look at Legion, which is ruined at the moment, which I told you before about from Insomnia. So it's in its little box at the moment, and I haven't had the opportunity to open it up. So it's a bit like Hypershock for Bailsy. It's just been left until someone can encourage you to actually open it up and see what's wrong with it properly.
Okay. Open it up and see what's wrong with it properly.
I will do. I haven't got it here at the moment, so I won't.
Oh, we should do that.
What?
We should open it up live.
Inside the Bot, live?
Inside the Bot.
Like a surgeon?
And at the end of Robot Wars, when everything's broken, and when you saw Ellis...
Mine wasn't broken.
Yours was never working.
Fully functional. No, it does work. It's just fully
It works
functional.
now. You fixed it up.
No, so why don't we do Inside the Bot live surgery, where we actually take Legion and look at it and have a green cloth, and then you can pass me things and we can wear doctors' outfits.
Oh, I thought you were going to say leather pouches.
No, that's
Rob.
disgusting, and that's Rob's area. We're not wearing any fetish stuff. It's not that sort of show.
All right.
There's no shop time. You haven't got a shop because you still haven't built a robot.
That's true.
And you started designing one, and then you...
What do you mean?
They're all too disgustingly sexy, so we had to stop.
I think the world's not ready for my robot designs.
It's not ready. And crayons is not the best medium for designing with.
I think all my work comes across quite nicely in crayon.
It is good, but it all ends up in a kindergarten.
Anyway, stop dissing my robot designs, because...
Anyway, so there's no shop time.
Yeah.
We have got news, though. Mr. Bales has got a giant bolt with best driver written on it.
Is it actually a bolt, though? Does it have the bolt bit?
It's a proper bolt, and the giant nut screws onto it. You got excited there. So when our Bailsy...
That is amazing.
When our Bailsy takes the title next season...
He's going to screw his...
No, no, actually, I'm going to take that back. When I take the best title, I'll let him put his giant bolt...
What?
...into my nut.
This is very...
No, it's not. That's engineering. It's not you trying to make it gay.
I don't think that's okay.
No. Anyway, so he's got Greg.
If you
Greg and Trey have awarded Bailsy the giant bolt with best driver on it.
Well, of course they
And
have.
everyone else that says differently and adds, oh, what about Mr. Pooper Scoop from here or this person is a punk, and I'm not accepting it.
I'll say rewatch the Warrior Clan fight.
Exactly. There's a person who can wiggle a stick. Not wiggle a stick, he doesn't have a stick, does he?
Too much.
Who can turn a little wheel.
Too much.
Turn a wheel and
much.
drive it really nicely. So, I'm really pleased. And you know what? As a fellow host on Inside the Bot...
Obviously, yeah. He's our most successful host.
He's up... What?
He's our most successful host.
He is. No, but we've had success.
We've had successful guests.
We've been successful ourselves in other things, though, haven't we?
You might have.
We don't like to blow a trumpet, but we had
Obviously
successes.
I'm world renowned for certain things that I can't talk about here.
Exactly. That secret stuff. Secret stuff. So anyway,
X-rated stuff.
no, that's not true. That's not true. Anyway, we're just rumbling along on crap.
I know,
and
but,
people get furious. Grant gets furious every time it's too long.
He doesn't listen to this anyway.
He does listen to it because he hates listening to it, but he can't not listen to it. It's like Gollum for him in The Ring. He hates it and loves it at the same time.
That just makes me want to make it longer.
I know, but you always cut the bits where I talk about him out.
Should we leave one in?
This bit you should leave in.
Okay.
Grant, we're listening to you. No, you're not. Listen to us, my precious.
That was Yoda.
No, that's Gollum. There you go.
Well, there we go.
Well, I'm putting a bit
We
of
should
Star Wars
probably
into it.
explain this because
What?
it's just going to sound like we're talking to some guy called Grant.
Grant is the dude who operates the hammer on Beta, and he gets furious. Not in the same way as Mr. Kindle, who gets extra furious. Grant is more of a calculating, cold furious.
Oh, I thought he was like a big fat dude for some reason.
Why did you think that?
I don't know. I think it's the name Grant.
Grant's not fat at all. He's quite slender.
Imagine it quite a...
He's a powerful man, but he's slender. He's wiry.
I imagine like one of those big rugby dudes.
No, he's not.
Just ruined my...
Stereotyping as well.
My
That is
vision
the
of it
name
now.
Grant. Anyway, stop it. Let's do. What are we going to do next? How do we work this? I forgot how to do a show.
We done the news. Someone got a nut.
Yeah.
No, a bolt. And then there was a show.
Okay, we are doing.
It was a really long show, actually.
I actually appreciate the length of this show because
I didn't.
why not?
I would have loved for it to be 2 shows, so we could talk about it in the interim. I think about halfway through this, you don't know who's going to win this, and nobody would have seen the awesomeness of some of these fights, and I think we would have got some more rumbles out of it.
Maybe, but we also didn't have to wait to see another robot getting slain, which I appreciated.
I do like that.
What's it called? This one? I bet you haven't even thought of a name. yet.
Fuck. You know what?
You haven't thought of a name. Have
I
you?
didn't even name our Robot Wars one, did I?
No, you didn't.
This is BattleBots Season 9. Season 9.
Season 9.
This is BattleBots Season 2.
Episode 9.
Episode 9 and 10 combined.
Yeah.
The first episode 9 is great, as in with an 8.
Yeah.
Expectations, the quarterfinals. And then Season 2, Episode 10 is One Shining Bot, the championship.
Okay. So great expectations and one shining bot. I like it.
I called it,
Go on.
and on that bombshell.
Oh, that is a golden one. And on that bombshell, I like that. And on that bombshell, pause. Nice. I like it. Let's get into the show. Chomp v Yeti.
Chomp v Yeti.
Chomp. I do like Chomp.
I like Chomp. But I don't know, if you've got a plate on top and you've not really got anything too exposed, Chomp is going to have a hard time. And especially if everything's well built inside your bot.
You're right. You're right. But Chomp does hit hard, though.
It's deceptively so.
So
Because people underestimate Chomp and how hard it hits.
they definitely do. And a lot of them slay it.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It makes me furious, actually.
I think it's the falling over thing. Makes people want to slay it.
They say, oh, it's too high and it's too this, but actually centre of gravity is very low and it does annoy me. Now, I don't know why they don't like it, but there you go. Maybe they're just...
No one says when beta upends itself,
oh, it's rubbish.
oh, it's rubbish. You can't.
But what is it then?
The overall look of the machine doesn't look as sleek as beta, you got to say.
Yep.
Chomp, I think, has gone for a lot more of a high arm around the skirting approach, and it's the only pneumatic one.
You're right. You're right.
So there's nothing else really to compare it like for like with anyway. And I think people are unfairly harsh on it because of that.
Possibly.
Because, you know, a pneumatic hammer has a lot of power in it.
So are you saying that people maybe are pneumaticist? Is it like...
I think it's more they're comparing two things that aren't the same thing.
You're right. Yep. I get that.
A pneumatic hammer does have a bit more power in it, right? Than
Possibly, if it's done right. But yes, more than likely.
And I think it's the whole, when Chomp fires, the supports shake.
Yes.
The robot falls over. But if it hits, I mean, we've seen takes out a chain. It
Oh,
puts massive dents.
We saw that. That was a masterclass. That's such an amazing... And I love the fact... We were talking about an old fight, but I love the fact that Zoe said, we're going to chop his chain off. And then the first hit she does, it chops his chain off.
Now, do you think they just... BattleBots stood there for like an hour as she went through everything that could happen? And then whatever happened in the fight, they'd cut that bit in. Oh, we're going to get stuck on the screws.
Yeah, we're going to chop his wheels off. So she totally did, and she just fed him his bone butt. So Chomp, I think, has really, out of all of these things, I think Chomp's proved itself this year as a quality,
and yet it still gets a hard time online.
And still gets a hard time.
But I think it has a following.
Oh, definitely.
Like along up there with other massive robots.
Definitely.
Because it endears itself to people with its kind of wobbly ways.
Exactly. Yeti,
what's he doing? He's had an easy run.
He has had an easy run, hasn't he?
He's had Lucky. The Megatento, who, as a drum spinner, you can tear one of those wheels off.
Exactly.
Although Poison Arrow didn't.
No, they didn't, did they? But they beat them, though.
Beaten, yeah. And then Yeti is through against Chomp.
Yeah.
His first real test, I'd say.
Definitely. Its first real test.
So Yeti was straight in on this fight and always on Chomp, I'd say.
Definitely.
If you get to the fight.
But there's some good hits going in. Some amazing hits going in.
Yeah, but apart from those belts on the side of Yeti's drum, nothing exposed really.
No, but that's what she's aiming for each time. If you notice, she actually is sticking that hammer right where it counts. It's like it's automated.
Funnily enough,
they said do you reckon they whisper to Chompy and go, "Hey, Chompy, its belts are loose," and Chompy goes, "Oh, belts, I'll go for them."
Well, I think they can set it off to the left or right potentially. Possibly
so. But anyway. Some big hits in there.
Yeah, Yeti wasn't really bothered though.
But do you know what? I didn't think I think Chompy showed her armour quality here because he wasn't really doing much damage to her.
Yeah, definitely.
And the actual thing that bent the thing that bent Chomp's hammer were the kill saws, not Yeti.
Bent it?
There's a bend in it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then also, but Yeti did take off one of those things that sticks out the sides that helps itself right. But Chompy was still getting up. But towards the end of the fight, she's getting tired. I think her nitrogen's run out.
Yeah.
Because she's then, sitting on a side like that. And it's like, the only thing that's driving her around then is because she's got an electric drive for resetting. So that's what's driving the hammer at that point. When it's moving around, that's an electric drive driving her hammer around.
Okay. It's quite complicated, isn't it, Chomp?
Oh, super complicated. So complicated. But cool.
So, yeah, Chomp got stuck on her side.
Yeah, she's a she.
Chomp is a she.
Yeah.
And Yeti got the KO.
But do you know what? I don't think anyone let Chomp down. So Zoe did an amazing job this time. And it was awesome to get this far.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Next fight
was Tombstone and Beta. Oh, heavy armour on the top of Tombstone here. They whacked it on there. Ray's gone crazy with the mixing things up this year.
What do you mean?
He's got those. He's like opens his coat up and he's got 5 blades.
Oh, Ray's selection of blades.
Puts his hand on his trousers.
Which one am I going to put on?
Pulls out a titanium plate. It's like, let's get this on.
Okay, Ray, what are you going to put on, Ray? Are you going to put the heavy one or the light one on,
so
Ray?
Ray slipped out a little plate from his trousers and put it on top of Tombstone.
So if Ray wants further reach, then he sticks his
long and on.
His long one, which is aluminum. And then he wants a heavy hitter. He
puts his heavy one on.
Which is the blue one.
The blue
one. So, and I actually, Ray started colour coordinating his wheels at this point. Now that
wheels are lighter.
Do you know what? That I don't get. That's not a thing.
They're a smaller radius.
Yeah, but how much weight are you really going to save?
Well,
nothing.
Yeah, it's Ray. He knows what he's doing.
I know he knows what he's doing, but I'm going to say they're not that much different.
I'm reading the headlines in tomorrow's paper. Robot Wars non-televised fight winner.
Yeah. Winner? Oh, there you go. Against Ray Billings. No, I'm just telling you that I have...
Questions Ray Billings' wheel choice.
I'm not questioning his wheel choice. I'm just loving the fact that he uses blue wheels to match his blade.
You're questioning him.
I'm not questioning him. Ray's amazing.
So you've won a fight.
You want some more? I love that. It's my best.
It's not Irish.
He probably is Irish because most Americans claim some Irish attachment.
You want some more?
Do you want some more?
Some more tea.
No, do you want a bit more pain?
Okay.
And anyway, Beta and Tombstone.
Beta's not really done anything apart from fix itself.
What do you
Because it
mean?
was mullered.
It was just pretty badly mullered by.
Yeah.
So we got all the British
Nightmare.
come together, okay, in BattleBots. All the British teams come together and they rebuild Beta together, which is, do you know what? That's amazing, and it makes me proud to have the Union flag as our flag. Just that's the sort of thing that makes my heart melt. And I'm like, right, let's now parade around.
Come on, lads.
Come on, lads, let's do this together. So all the Brits are there working together. Beta ends up with Cobalt's motor or parts of its motor inside it, which is awesome because the Mouldy and Sam helped rebuild that bit. We've got Photon Storm pitching in as well. They're all there going together. You've got the excellent Alan Young on that team, remember? He's powerful at robots. He's powerful.
Because you wouldn't want Ed's hands in your bot.
Ed's hands are safer. He project manages everyone from the back.
Exactly.
So he's behind you going, right, okay, you go that way, buddy. He needs a spanner, buddy. Get some nuts over there and cut some what. He does that.
He's behind you, but his hands are not in your bot.
No, he's motivationally shouting and he's not to touch people's bots.
No.
Only his own.
He's just giving a helping hand
He's at where it's needed.
with your bot.
Exactly. When it's required. Anyway, so Beta comes back in and she's ready to go.
She's shiny.
She's flying the British flag high for me.
From the hammer.
And I'm really excited, actually. This fight for me is one I've been looking forward to for a long time.
Jerusalem's playing. That wasn't Jerusalem.
No, it's
It's
not.
fine.
So this is amazing times. Anyway, and do you know what, Ray? Hopefully he's got a bit of fear about him. He doesn't fear much, but I think Ray does fear a hammer. If there's anything that makes him wake up with a cold sweat around his
hammer.
neck, is a hammer. Ray.
What a fight.
Amazing fight.
Let's get on to it.
And John Reed
Let's get on to it.
is an amazing driver.
Yes.
And this is where he takes it to it. If he takes the pain to you with his driving, he definitely is up there with driving legends.
For anyone who saw Carbide against Terahertz, very similar fight.
He owned him.
He owned him.
And he tries to do the same thing again here.
Well, I don't know which one happened first. Robot Wars happened first, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So he honed his skills in Robot Wars.
He did.
And he went abroad, and he did nail the fight, but we'll get on to it. Right. So the first impact for Beta was awesome. He, flung Tombstone across.
Oh, that was amazing. He hit him so hard, he turned him over and cartwheeled him across the thing, which is just amazing skills. And then he was on top of him again, and then that cranked hammer now, this is where it shows its ability, because it just goes wallop, he's underneath him and it cranks over the top and just gives him a massive stove in. And do you know what, completely unlucky not to smash some of its vitals. And that blue blade is flying. If you know this at this point, I've never seen that blade go faster. It's so fast now, it just looks like a fan. It's just going at crazy speed. Is it a matter of time, or can Beta take it?
It's a matter of time.
Do you think?
Because straight away you see the weapon, part of the weapon housing gets damaged on Beta, something flies off.
No, I've actually discovered a way of attacking axes from these fights. If you drive up them, all of their business end is up the top, isn't it?
Yeah.
So their goodness, the bit you want.
That'll work on some hammers.
Obviously, Chompy's different entirely.
Yeah.
Oh, and Al's different entirely. But
So you've discovered a way of fighting one hammer.
yes,
Terahertz or Beta.
Terahertz and Beta. You can drive up them and then have a go at their...
A very specific
Top
hammer
parts.
if they've got to ramp up them.
As long as
You
they're going to
can.
ramp up them, you can drive up them.
Funnily enough.
Anyway, what happens in this? Poor Beta gets ripped, chunk taken out of it. Its hammer goes loose, but you know what? Still driving at this point, still going, and he's still having a go at him the whole time. He doesn't stop once.
And then both of them at the end are just
Both of them are just sitting one on top of the other.
ruined.
Sitting one on top of the other. Like two arthritic ants. Judge's decision, is it right?
Definitely.
With the amount of damage that Beta's taken, definitely. But one of the best fights I've seen for a long time.
And also, would Beta have actually been able to carry on if it had won?
It was pretty destroyed, wasn't it?
It would have been.
I think they probably would have been able to put it back together again.
what, even that?
Don't underestimate British engineering.
Yeah, but is there even a way? Because that's all cast out. Well, not cast, I always say cast.
It's
Always milled
out of one block.
out of one block. So how can you put that back on?
Steel straps.
Well, you've done me there
With a steel strap.
with a steel strap.
You love that.
Let's bring in our guest instead of doing the next fight. It's Will Bales. He's mate, his revenge buddy.
Yeah, his revenge buddy.
It's Michael Jeffries.
Yay!
So I'm joined by Mike Jeffries of Bombshell. That's not your team name, though, is it?
No, the team is the Chaos Corps. So we're a group of builders, mostly based out of the Atlanta area. We've got a couple from Tennessee and then one from Augusta, Georgia. And we've all been fighting at an event called Robot Battles for quite a few years.
Yeah.
That's the second oldest robot combat competition in the world, dating back all the way to 1991.
Did you say the second oldest?
Yeah, the oldest one is Critter Crunch in Colorado. Their first event was back in 1987, and they are still going to this day.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, but you guys are up there. How long have you been involved in it?
First really started trying to build a fighting robot back during the original run of BattleBots. So probably season 4, season 5 is when I started really gathering that pile of parts that everyone gets when they're trying to build their first robot, and completely failing to put them together. And I actually had a rolling chassis just in time for season 6 not to happen.
So right at the end of the original BattleBots stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. So did you participate in live events?
Yeah, since then I've been doing a bunch of live events. I did Robo Games a couple of times out in California, and then I actually moved to New York to go to college.
Okay.
And that resulted in me going to a lot of the NERC events over in Pennsylvania.
Ah, NERC. So you're familiar with Al Kindle?
We've fought a couple of times, and I'm pretty sure he was one of our biggest fans near the end of that event.
Nice, yeah. So you've done your NERC events, and then you hear BattleBots is coming back.
As I heard it was back, it was, all right, got to figure out how to do this.
Yep. So you were building probably featherweight robots?
Yeah, most of what I built since the first bot I built back in 2006 that went to Robo Games has been 30 pounds or less. Biggest robot I've ever built was for Robo Games 2006. It was 60 pounds, and it was pretty terrible, really. So since then, it's been featherweights or smaller. I've had a lot of success there with bots like Nix and Algos and things like that over the years.
Mm-hmm. Didn't have anything in season 1, did you?
No, we didn't have anything in season 1. From what I've been told, we were, or at least I was on a list of people they might have called, but then I think filled up all the builders they needed before they got to the spot on the list I was at.
Oh,
so I was mostly watching as a spectator for that one and enjoying the show and thinking about how I do something different.
Yeah. So then, I mean, and you have done something different.
Yeah, Bombshell was an interesting design to work on. I think we've got 150, 200 hours in the CAD alone.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so talk me through the design process. Who was involved in it? So you talked about a lengthy design period in CAD. How did it all come about, and who was involved in it?
So pretty early on, we formed at least a good portion of the team, and several of us kind of each went our own direction, trying to come up with a design we thought would hit kind of all the check boxes that BattleBots had.
Yeah.
So they wanted something that was different, something that wasn't a rectangle, and something that would look good on TV.
Yeah.
And we ended up going the direction I was working on, which was based on my 30-pounder Nix, where it's a fairly low, fast, stable platform, and then swappable weapon systems.
Okay, so you have that in your featherweight design as well?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then the build process, are you guys all fairly centrally located to each other?
To some degree, we have a couple of people who are, a few hours away. It ended up actually working out pretty well. So one of the people on our team, Chris Williamson, is out in Augusta, Georgia, but he works at a machine shop. So we were able to send him some of the trickier parts that we had to get machined, in particular the huge billet of aluminum we used for that 4-bar linkage on the horizontal spinner.
Oh, yeah,
which
okay.
We had delivered to his house because we didn't really think about just how heavy and awkward the billet would be to move. So he had to get that from his house to the machine shop before he could even do anything with it. But luckily for us, most of us are in the Atlanta area, and we were able to get together either at a place called Freeside Atlanta, which is a makerspace in town,
Yeah.
or at a makerspace inside Georgia Tech, the Invention Studio. And we did a lot of our fabrication between those two spots.
Awesome. What was the timescale like for your build?
We got the official word, I believe, somewhere right in the middle of February. I think it was within a week or so of Motorama,
Okay.
which most of us were going to. So it was, hey, you're in BattleBots. Cool. We also have to take a trip up to Pennsylvania next weekend.
So you had, when was it filmed? April?
Yeah. Ship date for all the teams was April 5th. And since we were, far enough away, we had to ship the robot on time.
Yeah.
Or we had to pay to ship about 1,500 pounds of robot stuff across country. So we were fairly committed to making the ship date.
Yeah. And so you made it just about on time?
Yeah, we got it. I think we finished packing the shipping crate at about 2 a.m. the morning of the ship date.
Okay, so it was perfectly timed.
Yeah, it was just under the wire, and we managed to test all the weapon systems. There was still a little bit of fine-tuning we knew we needed to do once we got to California for filming, but we were at least in a good enough spot. We felt like, all right, we can go with this.
Okay, cool. So when you yourselves got to California, as well as the robot, and you looked around, how did you feel about your chances on the show?
We thought we brought a pretty decent machine. We figured we were probably about mid-pack as far as pure destructive capability.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're at that kind of spot, it's really down to luck of the draw in the brackets, how well you drive relative to the person you're fighting, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that can be the difference between going out in the first round or making it all the way to the finals. Even after the bit of a gamble against Complete Control that nearly took us out.
Yeah. So let's go through your fights. Was that your first one? Complete Control?
Yeah, Complete Control was the first fight. Yeah, we managed to not get put in one of the rumbles, which was nice.
Yeah.
But Complete Control was our first draw, and amusingly enough, they were also our neighbors in the pits.
Oh, okay.
So we were right next to each other for about 2 full days after finding out who we were fighting, which led to a lot of messing with each other. So since we had the 4 different weapon systems,
yeah,
every hour or two we'd switch which weapon we were working on very visibly in front of them.
I heard about this actually. So someone said you always had someone working on each of the 4 modules.
Yeah, so they didn't have any certainty as to what we were actually going to run during the event, which was a lot of fun. And then the night before we were supposed to fight, we actually, my wife went out and got a decently sized cardboard box and some gift wrap, wrapped it up, and then we snuck it into the pit when they weren't looking. So they get in the next morning, and there's a gift wrapped box sitting right on our pit side of the little imaginary barrier.
Mind games going on everywhere.
Yeah, the mind games actually nearly were very bad. So we were originally supposed to fight the final match of the first night of the qualifying rounds. And we were backstage getting queued up, about to walk into the arena, and suddenly you smell propane everywhere.
Mm.
I'm not sure if there was a loose connection or something got cut while they were doing some assembly, but their flamethrower system vented in the backstage area of the arena. So it was, all right, fight's not happening tonight. Everybody out of the building. Let's get this thing ventilated and make sure nothing blows up.
Yeah, that first fight. What an awesome fight.
Yeah, I was really happy with it. I thought it was a really cool fight. I thought it was really showy, and bar a couple little issues, I thought it was a pretty close fight.
Yeah, I have to confess, I was kind of rooting for Complete Control once they had you up, grabbed and above them, just flaming up.
Yeah, it was such a beautiful visual with that.
It looks so cool. You showed some of your power. The committee decided you were worthy of a wild card.
Yeah, that was actually part of the gamble we took going into that fight, is we knew that if both of our bots were working after the fight, whoever lost was probably going to get a wild card if it was a halfway decent fight.
Yeah.
So we didn't really want to run either of the spinning weapons, because if we won, we wanted them to be working.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Because that was one less potential spinny thing getting into the next stage of the bracket.
Oh, okay. Tactical.
And, it didn't end up working out in our favor, but luckily we put on a good enough fight that we got the wild card.
Yeah, and I'm very glad you did, and I think everyone who watched the final is pretty glad you did, because you made quite the impression.
I certainly like to think so. And you probably saw it during some of the interviews, but we wanted to put on a show when we were there, and I think we did that.
And I think that's really cool. I mean, some builders are in it for the win, and some just want to see awesome fights, I think, but also win their fights.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly wanted to win, but there was always that bit of, let's make sure this is a fantastic show.
So your round of 32 fight, that was?
Cobalt. It's a beautiful robot. I'm so glad I got to fight that thing, because it's amazing looking, and I've seen a lot of debate on a couple online forums and things as to whether Cobalt or Tombstone would win, and that's a fight I'd love to see one day.
Oh, that would be craziness.
Little fun behind-the-scenes story. So the build-up to BattleBots, I was actually shipping moldy parts from McMaster because he couldn't order them. So the torque clutch that Cobalt's using, and I think the one that Carbide was using as well, was actually stuff I shipped him.
Oh, okay.
So he'd have a decent torque clutch to use.
So you knew what was inside that robot. You were ready to take him down.
I had my suspicions. He didn't give me a whole lot of detail on what was going on, but I knew the shaft size of the weapon motor and that he needed a torque clutch. And that gave me a pretty good idea what was going on. Okay.
So your fight with Cobalt, you had a cunning plan.
Yeah, so the horizontal bar was something we actually cooked up about a year ago now as a how do we take on a bot like Tombstone without just bolting a big steel wedge to the robot.
Yeah.
Because that is the traditional way to take on a big horizontal spinner is you put a big hunk of steel on it and you just run your face into them until they break.
Yeah.
And we ended up with this weird horizontal contraption where you can raise and lower the bar and try to target specific components of your opposing robot, and it was a very awkward thing to drive. The center of gravity for that module is so far forward that when you're driving the robot, it's actually ahead of the front tires, which is why we had those little outriggers on it.
Okay.
So the rear tires aren't actually on the ground when we fight with that module. We actually become a two-wheel drive robot when we run that.
Right. So had he gone a bit more aggressive and taken out your tires?
A chance he could have beaten us if he'd gotten into the tires quicker.
Yeah.
That said, we were also set at about the perfect height to hit his chain. So if he'd have gone in head first, it would have been, basically a coin flip as to whether we'd have hit his hub, hit his chassis, or hit the actual chain on the weapon.
Yeah, I think one of you would have been moving after that hit. But you got through. It was a cunning plan, and I love that you just shredded his wheels. It was, it was ingenuity, and it was just precision as well. And I really enjoyed that fight. And then you moved on, and you were against...
Next fight was against Red Devil. So that was a pretty fun fight. Jerome and I have known each other for a while. He actually has one of my old robots that he'd fixed up and ran as a 12-pounder with brushless drive that then got obliterated, so now it's a wall decoration at his place. But we've known each other for quite a while. We've talked a lot, and I was really looking forward to the fight, and I was so disappointed when the weapon stopped after that first hit.
And so you were running your vertical spinner for this one, right?
Yeah, we were running the vertical spinner, and what happened with the weapon is we have a bunch of these Hobby King plugs that we're now getting rid of. We're actually going to be doing some testing with some new fancy pseudo bullet connectors for the next round of things.
Okay.
But I think all the heat of the spin up, because we've got two short Amplas, the A28 150s, spinning that disc on an 8-cell LiPo. So we're talking about 9 horsepower in the weapon, and they're run off of contactors. So it's that full dump of the current. And we think that all of that got the solder on the battery connector hot enough that when we hit, it basically yanked the wire out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people saying they've just ripped wires off their LiPos and stuff with big hits.
Yeah, so we're working on finding some better connectors that should avoid that issue for next time.
And then that was kind of like the pushing match, wasn't it?
Yeah, that turned into not really the kind of fight I wanted to put on, but
no.
I tried to make it as exciting as I could, given that my weapon was completely done.
Oh yes, and he couldn't really get into you guys because you had the wedge that was actually skimming the ground rather than his, which was kind of off it.
Yeah, so I ended up doing my best Storm 2 impersonation.
Yeah, it was nice reference there, and it was yeah. You guys just bossed it basically. You couldn't, even though he had a working primary weapon, he couldn't utilize it at all.
Yeah, I saw a lot of questions about how we got our wedge as low as it was, and that was actually a little bit of a tricky thing with the way the chassis is designed.
Mm-hmm.
So our two wheel pods are mounted to the center section with these rubber shock mounts.
Yeah.
They're called, I think, vibration isolators if you want to look up the proper name.
Okay.
But what's happened is both those wheel pods will flex and absorb impacts. The other effect is when you've got this big heavy weapon hanging off one side, the entire center section will actually twist towards the ground, which meant we can keep grinding off steel from that wedge, and it'll just start taking load off of the part that's scraping the ground without actually getting it off the ground.
Sweet.
So I spent probably 3 hours with an angle grinder. A couple other teammates put in a couple hours as well, just shaving that wedge until we had as little contact force as possible while it would still be ground scraping.
That's really
before
nice.
that fight.
That's pretty sweet.
So it ends up working like a fixed wedge, except it'll kind of ride the terrain in the arena.
Yeah, I mean, it was really effective. I think it was probably the best wedge out there.
Yeah, I was really happy with how it worked out. That thing was, for UK people, about 6 millimeter Hardox 400 equivalent.
Yeah. Okay. So then we move on. I think we're into yesterday's fights now.
Yeah, that was a really long wait because I think my two favorite things are coming up. And, the Red Devil fight was a huge disappointment, and then we can't say anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Because there were a lot of people like, oh, that disc is just not worth using. It broke. Just wait.
Yeah, I mean, you had your chance to prove them wrong. So we have Poison Arrow first, and you had the disc on again.
Yeah.
And you were very careful not to go head on this time. Was that influenced by your fight before?
It wasn't so much trying not to go head on as I think they were trying to keep their drum from hitting us until they got to speed.
Oh, okay.
So I was trying to chase them down and actually get the wedge into their drum to stop their spin up. So with Poison Arrow, their brushless motor controller I don't think was quite dialed in at the event. I've heard that they've got it a lot better now, but they took about 12 seconds to get to full speed.
Yeah.
So I knew if I was across the arena and on top of them quickly, it would keep them from getting up to speed really at all during the fight. And I wanted to make sure I was on them because we have a really quick spin up time with our disc since we're not the most powerful vertical spinner by any stretch.
Mm-hmm.
But we went for a balance of acceleration and pretty decent punch. And the big trick with it is the energy transfer with the whole geometry of the wedge feeding into it.
Yeah, I mean, you really kind of dominated them early in the fight and just ended up getting them against that wall. And then some fun things happen.
Yeah, there's a little bit of debate while I was having a little debate with myself at that moment of, do I go in and unstick them? Do I go back to the corner, to the square and wait? What do I do?
Well, they ended up baiting you in.
They decided to try and free Poison Arrow with Buzz. And as soon as that drone hit the ground, the decision was made and lined up the shot. And I didn't actually realize how clean that shot on Buzz was until I saw the video, because I didn't have a great view of where they were in the arena. But I knew that's what I had to do at that point.
Mm-hmm. And you got into him, but then you saved Poison Arrow.
Yeah.
But then, really, you only saved him for a second because then you completely brutalized him.
Yeah, luckily I think they'd spun down at that point because they were just trying to rock themselves free and do whatever they could.
Yeah.
So once they were free, I was able to stay right on top of them and knock them around a bit before I got them up to the screws.
Yeah, that was hilarious. They managed to tuck them up completely behind the screws.
Yeah, I really wish I had the live audio from Chris and Kenny there, since I basically punted Poison Arrow at their heads. Because I suspect what went over the air may not be exactly what was said in the mic at that moment.
Yeah, potentially. That was an awesome fight, and an awesome end to the fight as well, to have them just tucked up behind those screws. No doubt who won that one.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool moment at arena side.
Awesome stuff from Mikey J.
He's powerful.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't call him Mikey J.
Not really. That's rude.
Awesome stuff from Michael Jeffries. Let's move on to Bronco Minotaur.
Oh, now Bronco Minotaur. I was looking forward to this fight. Bronco v Minotaur is going to be a good one. Now, I expected Bronco put their punch bot out because that's their thing now. They're going to punch him off the back. And that's their thing they're going to put together. Minotaur are super calm.
I don't know what they thought they were going to do against Minotaur.
Do you think... Well, we're going to do their punch off the back thing.
It's not going to work.
Do you not think?
No, I always knew this was going to end how it did.
But weirdly, I'm not sure why, they didn't go wedge on.
Because they thought they were going to flip it. They underestimated the beast that is Minotaur.
Do you think? Even though they've seen it pop Warhead's head off?
Yep. I think they thought we've not got a head to pop off. We'll be fine. And we've got 6 wheels. They're never going to get through all of those.
And they chewed the lot off. So there you go. That's that fight, actually. So well done, Minotaur. Chewed all Bronco's wheels off and left it sitting...
It was a stripped carcass on the floor.
It was a stripped carcass as well. That was awesome. And we've got another fight. Bombshell v... What's that squiggle?
Minotaur.
There.
Yeah, the one that you wrote, Minotaur.
Oh, Bombshell v Minotaur. I knew that would come unstuck.
You're an idiot.
Can we hear from Michael Jeffries about that?
Yeah, let's just hear from Michael Jeffries.
I knew we were going to be against something tough because it was either going to be Bronco, which is a pretty fantastic bot in its own right.
Oh, yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Or against Minotaur, which is, a bot that's been, in some form or another, getting perfected for at least the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Since their first heavyweight drum bot.
Definitely. And I think for anyone who online has been saying Bombshell are a jack of all trades and a master of none, when you see him go up against Minotaur, who is, the most perfected bot at doing one thing.
Yeah, Minotaur is so incredibly optimized for what it does. I was actually really sad when the schedule got shuffled around for the show because I was really looking forward to the week between the quarterfinals and the semifinals.
Yeah.
Where you'd have people on Reddit and all those places saying, oh, there's no way Bombshell can win this fight. It was going to be so much fun.
I looked at a few prediction threads for the final, the final episode, and a lot of people were writing Bombshell off.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't necessarily have any familiarity with some of the smaller events.
Yeah.
So there's at least some people at BattleBots, some of the other competitors at least know who I am and have seen some of what I've done and know that writing off anything I've put in the arena is not a great idea because I've done some silly things with stuff that really should never work. Had a robot I built as a joke a few years back where it had a 21-inch lawnmower blade directly mounted to an angle grinder and a single powered wheel. And it actually managed to win a couple of fights with that. And it would only actually drive in a straight line at 1 speed in reverse because of the gyroscopic forces. So I'd actually back into the removable link first and then spin the thing around to attack with the weapon.
Nice. So, don't rule out Michael Jeffries because he's a master of the weird.
Yeah, and it's, you've got to have some fun with it and things like that. It's, putting on a show that people weren't expecting to see.
Yeah, and I think people will know for next time because this was a brutal fight.
Yeah, that was just... Once I saw the pictures, because we got pictures from all of our fights a month or two back, it was trying to rebuild what actually happened during the fight in my head, and it was such an amazing fight.
Yeah, should we go through it?
Yeah.
The first things first, you got a plate torn off one of your wheel pods.
Yeah, one of the wheel guards just got ripped off completely. I don't know if it was obvious on the show, but it got punted into the roof so hard that it actually broke one of the arena lights.
Wow.
And that's the extra thing that fell down.
Oh, okay, yeah, because it looked like there was quite a lot littering the arena.
Yeah, so that's what ended up happening there. And at this point in the fight, I'm definitely getting a bit of an adrenaline thing going on.
Yeah.
Because, it's a super tense fight. It's also similar to a lot of fights I've done, just at a smaller scale, because I've got a little 1-pound fighting robot called Algos that's kind of the inspiration for the vertical disc module we had. And I've fought my wife's robot, Clazo, which is a vertical drum bot that's sort of similarly proportioned to Minotaur quite a few times. So I kind of know what I need to do.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to just get calm down and focus on doing exactly that.
I'd say you kind of take it to Minotaur towards, after that initial hit, you take it to him. The wedge is doing That's some good work.
I think the moment that really shifted the momentum of the fight, because early on, I think Minotaur had it perfectly head to head.
Yeah.
And they just, like this perfect backflip off a Minotaur. We bounce about half a foot into the air and back a couple feet.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is the moment where the fight changed. I'm not sure if it was that hit or a little bit later, but very quickly afterwards, one side of their drive was out.
It was that hit. And I was watching this with Gabe, actually, and Gabe flinched when he saw that hit. His head just reeled back from the TV. And, it was just a crazy hit on that. And then you could see the belt was kind of hanging out, and they lost their drive all on the right-hand side.
Yep, and then so that goes on for a minute, and I'm trying to chase him across the arena, and then over by one of the hammers, you can see a hit where I come in right on the side of him.
Yep.
And we actually have a photo of the exact moment where that hit happens.
Okay.
You can see that at this point they're upside down, so you can actually see their bottom armor getting folded over on that hit. So that bends the armor low enough that if they ended up back up right side up, that wheel wouldn't be touching the ground, and that was the only one that was working.
Oh, okay, yeah. And is that how they got KO'd in the end?
Yeah, so we ended up chasing them all the way across the arena while they're gyro dancing. Somewhere there we hit again, and they actually ripped one of the teeth off of our disc completely.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
So you'll notice Bombshell starts shaking like crazy while I'm still attacking him. And we suddenly lost this big hunk of S7 off of the disc.
That's going to do it, yeah. It becomes a bit unbalanced after that.
And then a couple hits later, I think we had a similar issue where all the vibration and the heat and everything managed to dislodge a wire, because you'll notice that there's a bit of smoke and the disc stopped spinning.
Yeah.
And then I managed to just get into that right angle, and they end up back right side up without any wheels touching the ground that are moving.
A deserved win for you guys, definitely.
Yeah, that was a brawl of a fight, and we had a ton of repairs to do after that.
Yeah. How about that hit?
Oh, that hit.
The hit that made you flinch.
That was a bang. That's a big hit, wasn't it?
And a good fight.
And that was pretty much the poor Minotaur guys out of the comp.
And I think everyone had been saying how we're going to deal with Minotaur, and now we see it.
Yeah.
You get Michael Jeffries to.
With a big vertical spinner.
Because I think some people were imagining that Minotaur would go all the way to the final.
Oh, no, I did. I thought they had a really good chance. But, Michael Jeffries is a planner. He's a thinker. And once he puts his science head on, then you're going to get slain.
And actually, even the Minotaur guy said that the way to counter a drum is a big disc.
It's a big disc. So there you go.
Nailed it.
Let's do the next fight.
Do you know why that is, though? Why does a disc counter a drum?
Because it's a single. It's much narrower, and it's got a lot more inertia because it's taller. So you can get more of a bang into them and punch them away from you.
Because they're both going up from the floor, aren't they?
They're both going up from the floor, but it's who gets underneath who. And remember, if you've gone against, what makes it even better is if you've got a big vertical disc with a ramp going up to it.
Yeah.
You're already off the ground, aren't you? So they can't hit. So Minotaur hitting Bombshell's disc. They can't.
There's no lever. Yeah, okay.
They're only levering against the actual robot. So they can't lever against the floor.
So Bombshell's not going to go anywhere.
It can't go anywhere, can it? Because otherwise you're trying to lift, unless you lift its wedge away from its top, which is not going to happen. So once you get stuck,
with how low it is against the ground,
exactly.
Which is that is the most revolutionary thing about Bombshell, I'd say, is apart from the whole 4-weapon module thing.
Definitely.
The way they get a wedge so close to the ground.
Yeah, with the rubber mounts.
No one does that.
No, it scrapes.
No one does that and can still drive.
Yeah, exactly. So and that's my favourite configuration of Bombshell as well, with its big disc on the front.
Yeah,
it looks cool.
And I guess now we know why Ian Lewis said if he was going to build like an industrial style robot, he'd go down the Bombshell route.
Yeah, definitely cool.
He would have seen all this, wouldn't he?
Definitely.
That's cool. So the next fight was Yeti and Tombstone.
This is where the underdogs, the Yeti team.
The underdog and the big dog.
And there's only one way of this happening, isn't there, really?
Well, you say that, but you would have thought that before the fight, a lot closer than you would have expected.
It was closer than you expected, but it was really only a matter of time whilst Ray strips your wheels off.
He did immediately catch that wheel. Let's get into that. He did immediately catch that wheel. But then he lost his spinner.
Yes, he did.
And yet he lost his drum.
Yes, he did.
It was just a pushing match. I mean, when it's a pushing match, anything can happen.
Yes, it can. Yes, it can.
If he gets up on those screws...
Except Yeti wasn't really driving very well, was it, at this point, because it's wheelless.
And he had 2 wheels left.
And remember, we're judging on damage from primary weapon. So if we've got damage from primary weapon, yes, Yeti has stopped.
Yeah.
But he's also stopped each other, so that counts each other out. And then you're just going to look at wheels, and you've got 2 wheels missing, so it's going to lose this. It's going to lose this fight.
But Tombstone only started with 2 wheels.
No, exactly.
But equal on wheels
he's
at
still
the
got
end.
them.
I mean, come on.
No, that doesn't count. That doesn't count.
That's what Bronco's going for. That's where he starts with 6.
Yeah, but he still has
he's
damage.
got a head start.
The fact they are damaged is the thing. So that's done.
For a walker, you can't win because you've not got any wheels.
Yeah, but you've got legs. Again, damage.
How many
legs.
wheels is a leg worth?
Damage to legs. There's no. Well, I'd have to get the guy who does the numbers.
Hang on, we need to get the conversion chart out.
We need the guy who does the numbers to work that out. That's the only way. That's the only way it's fair.
Greg?
Come and tell us. Anyway, stop that. We're going to now look at the next fight, which is a rumble. Isn't it? Yeah, I can't read who's in it because my writing's so bad. And you said it, and now I've been slain by it. It's Lukufu, Burr, and Lawrence.
Tell me who was in the Rumble. Go on.
Oh, so obviously Witch Doctor, because I remember that.
Yeah.
So Witch Doctor, the white one, Bite Force.
You mean season 1 champion Bite Force?
It doesn't count. So Bite Force, Witch Doctor, and I've got Lawrence. Oh, Rex. There you go.
Lawrence.
No,
that was painful.
You knew that was coming when I wrote them out. So
because you wrote them out on the little board you've
That's
got.
like doctor's writing. That would be like, I would have changed, if I'd been doing an operation there, I'd have taken someone's leg off instead of replacing their kidney.
You would have taken 2 legs off.
Shit, sorry, bud. It's my writing. I thought I wrote Lawrence instead of Rex.
You would have taken 2 legs off, sewn them onto their torso sideways so they look like a butterfly.
Sorry, it's all to do with poor writing. That would be good though on a person, make them look like a butterfly. Sorry, bud, you can't walk, but you look like a butterfly.
They'd have to walk like a dog, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
on all 4s.
that'd be fine. Nothing wrong with that. The fight.
If they're on the...
Don't stop it. Stop it.
Right.
Go on to the fight.
I'll redesign humans later.
Now, do you know what? Rex has got his helmet firmly strapped on at this point.
Rex.
He's determined not to headbutt the wall.
Do you know what?
It doesn't work though, does it?
I think they didn't give Rex any fizzy drinks before this one.
I think that's probably a thing.
I think
it
wasn't too late for him.
And he wasn't allowed on the cherry laces either.
No, and he'd had his nap.
Yeah, and he was ready to go.
He was ready for church.
Now, do you know what surprised me in this fight?
Go on.
Bite Force.
In what way?
In that it took the pain to the other robots.
Oh, yeah.
Super duper. Like...
Why did that surprise you?
Because he hasn't done so far. Every other fight he's had, his weapon breaks. This one here, he takes them and gives them out. He dishes out the pain like you can't imagine.
Yeah, but Zoe fixed the chain for him.
No, she didn't.
Give a little tap.
Oh, she loosened it up.
She loosened it up.
That's what it was. But this is where, as you go, oh my god, that robot's amazing. Then before, I thought it was lackluster.
What, even when it dented the ringmaster completely?
No, after then, it's had its chain broken each time and it's been poor.
You mean the one... I don't want to unwind everything you're saying.
No.
You're wrong.
No, but...
It's looked good, but it hasn't...
I'm just saying, this one here, it dominated those 2 robots. In a rumble, it dominated the pair of them.
But if you bend a solid block of magnesium, you're just going to get off scot-free from that.
I know, but now it's fine.
But I think it's to do with what it's hitting rather than...
Got you. Anyway, I thought Witch Doctor was pretty much owned in this one.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
Shaman
actually,
was destroyed.
But then nothing's on the line, so they're driving differently to how they would be.
Yeah.
Obviously, they want to win it, but
Rex, on the other hand,
they also just want to put on a good show.
Yeah, Rex, on the other hand, doesn't seem to be able to get around very much.
Rex, bless Rex. They did let it stumble about.
Yes.
In a real fight, it would still be getting ruined.
Yes.
But they let it stumble about for a bit. And Witch Doctor took out Shaman.
Yeah.
That was good.
It
Nice
was good.
explosion.
Yeah. Witch Doctor took out Shaman.
Yeah.
What, they took their own robot out?
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, they came together and there's that massive explosion. Shaman somehow didn't just get destroyed.
I
There's a
thought
massive fireball.
Bifrost got him.
No.
Oh, okay.
It's Witch Doctor and Shaman.
There you go. So they got furious with
blue.
each other.
Yeah.
So Rex launches Witch Doctor, posts it on the wall, then is stumbling about, and then Bite Force is upside down at this point, and the only way it's going to win is if it can get back on its wheels. So it drives into the wall, and Rex is actually looking like it's going to win by accident.
Shaman's destroyed. Rex was smoking up.
I've enjoyed I've enjoyed this episode, especially with the two robots that get posted outside the arena.
Yeah, they should do that more.
I love a robot being launched and posted outside the arena.
And Bite Force won that.
And Bite Force won that.
I can't remember what the next fight was.
It's the final.
Oh, yeah.
It's Bombshell v Tombstone. It's going to be genius.
Yeah, let's just hear from Mike Jeffries about this, I guess.
Awesome.
Were you 100% before the fight? With
we
Tombstone?
weren't even close to 100%. So we'd managed to get the drivetrain put back together basically as they're sitting there threatening to replace us because they need us in the arena immediately. And if we're not ready, we're going to leave. I don't know if they'd actually have done that, but that was the threat going on. But we get to the test box and load up, and the right front wheel just isn't turning at all.
Oh, okay.
Which is a problem because the right front and left front are the only wheels that actually drive anything with the horizontal bar.
Yeah.
So the right rear is working, though. So we actually yank off the panel, swap the wires, and now we've got a dead left or dead right rear instead of a dead right front. And at this point, we don't have time to figure out why it's not working, so we just roll with it.
All right. So you were limping at the end, really.
Yeah, luckily it didn't really matter too much because that wheel's not on the ground anyway, so it's not doing a whole lot for us to begin with. But I think the big thing is we just didn't have time to think before we were loading into the arena. So we were trying to get the weapon height right and all sorts of things, and it was this mad rush to get there.
You go in against Tombstone, and it's fair to say it was a bit of a one-sided final.
Yeah, I thought we actually got so almost painfully close to doing what we went into to do.
Yeah.
Rewatching the fight, it looks like we initiated contact the first 3 times during that fight. The first one, it looked like we actually hit the frame right above the chain.
Yeah.
The second time I was trying to get his tire and ended up hitting a bit left of that and hit the back corner of the frame.
Yeah.
And then the final decent hit we got in was right in the middle of the aluminum hub. And after that point in the fight, you can actually see this huge chunk taken out of the hub from where we hit.
But it was all to no avail. And eventually you had a wheel taken off, didn't you?
Yeah, I think that hit actually pulled our drivetrain into his bar, and that was it.
Okay, yeah. If you're going to lose to anyone, though, Tombstone's not exactly a bad way to go.
Yeah, and that robot has essentially a decade of refinement built into it.
Yeah.
So if you're going to lose to something that's that well refined, that is at the top of its game, and has been basically perfected by the builder, nothing wrong with that.
No. Awesome stuff. Congratulations on getting the runners up, getting to the final.
Yeah, it was, we came in expecting a win or two, and to go as far as we did with a brand new robot at a scale none of us had ever built at before was pretty wild.
And that brings us on to, I suppose, your future plans.
So one of the cool things is I'm actually going to be able to make a little announcement right now that we are officially going to be releasing the full CAD of Bombshell.
Wow. For
public consumption on our website, chaoscore.org.
So it's going to be 32 bombshells in the next BattleBots series?
I would not suggest people clone exactly what we're releasing because there's a lot of things we do want to upgrade on it, and we've been working on upgrades in the background for a while already, mostly on the CAD side of things.
That's really cool.
But it'll be up on the website. The files are already there. I'm going to put up a post momentarily, and then once the Inside the Bot podcast goes out, I'll also link to it on Facebook. But you guys are getting the first release notice.
Inside the Bot exclusive.
So we've got all sorts of stuff planned for season 3. We really want it to happen because we've got a lot of fun stuff in the works. So we're completely rebuilding the drive pods. Going to a different layout for them to move the motors inboard a bit because we've got a couple of amp flows with some cobalt chews and things taken out of them.
Yeah.
And then we're redoing that center pod, taking some weight out there so we can shift the weight balance a bit because we realized we didn't need as much structure in some areas as we had.
Okay.
And then each of our weapons is getting at least some sort of rework done to it. The horizontal bar is staying pretty similar. We're doing some new bars for that so we can take the weight and shift it back a bit so we're not actively leaning forward during the entire fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vertical disc, we're going to a solid disc, and then we're going to have a second bar weapon that we can toss in there.
Okay.
And then axe and lift are both going from a worm gear reduction to a cycloidal gearbox one of my teammates is designing right now.
Sweet.
That's going to hopefully take the efficiency from, we're guessing, 30 to 40% up to the mid-80s.
Nice.
And then we're going from, in the case of the lifter, a single A28 150, and in the axe, a A28 400 to dual A28 150s. So we'll be at about 9 horsepower apiece in the axe and lifter.
So it's really, you're just improving everything, basically.
Yeah, and we may have one or two other things in the works, but there's a lot of, we need to figure out if it will work first before we can really confirm anything.
A little tease there as well.
Yeah, we've had a couple of interesting messages passed back and forth, and if it works out, it'll be really cool.
Cool stuff. Awesome. So, yeah, would you like to thank any sponsors?
Yeah, so we've got one sponsor. They are our exclusive sponsor for Season 2. It's SendGrid.
Yep.
They've been fantastic this whole time. You know, we managed to work out a great deal with them, and it was a huge help. I don't think we'd have been able to pull off what we did without their help.
And what do they do?
So they do like mass email management for companies.
Okay.
What's kind of funny is if you actually subscribe to the Hello at BattleBots thing where you'll get newsletter updates from BattleBots, you'll notice that they're actually managed with SendGrid.
Okay. That's really cool. So that was your one sponsor. Any new ones for the future on the horizon?
Now that the season's ended, we're going to talk to SendGrid and see if they want to keep going with the exclusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And until we find out there, we're not really approaching any of their companies to talk about it because, you know, they were really great to us this season. Yeah. They took a pretty huge risk given that we were, at least as far as BattleBots is concerned, an unknown quantity.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we're really grateful for that.
Yeah, always great to have sponsors and to have them kind of give you their unconditional support before you've done anything. Yeah,
it was a huge help this season. I don't think we'd have done near what we did without them.
Cool. So, thanks for coming on, Mike.
Yeah, thanks for having
And
me.
amazing job on BattleBots Season 2.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you again in the future. And certainly, we want to talk to you in the off-season for some cool stuff we plan on doing.
Sounds good. I'd be happy to do it.
Awesome, man.
All right. Thanks a bunch.
Cheers,
Hope
bud.
to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, see ya. So commiserations to Mike. Awesome stuff for coming on the show. And awesome stuff for getting so far in Season 2 of BattleBots. But it's congratulations to Ray.
Yeah.
Who went all the way this year.
Definitely. And Ray, we haven't had you on at all. And I know you said you would come on. And we're going to do a special on you. I'd love to do a special on you if you're up for it still.
So we're going to have a Ray special.
A Ray special would be brilliant, which we'll try. I'm going to do our best to put together. Where we spend a whole episode and it's all about Ray, which is going to be genius. You want some more? That's my best thing. When Ray taunts you with "you want some more," if he says that to me, I'm going to go, "Come on, Ray, give me everything you've got, all of it."
He's got his son there. Do you reckon when he was a baby and he was feeding him,
he probably said,
"You want some more?
You want some more?" Yeah, Dad. And then he's like, and what really makes me happy is when I see that Ray gets emotional because he's actually done it with his son, and that's awesome.
Ray was totes emotion.
He was, and that was absolutely cool as you like. Really cool. A great win.
As you will be when you win Robot Wars.
Exactly.
And your daughter is beside you.
Exactly.
You'll say, "Oh, this is great."
And, there you go.
So great to have my daughter with me.
So great to have my daughter with me. And I sound like Michael Jackson. And then what I'm going to do, once that's happened, once I've become the king of that area, the king of pop, I'll... it's going to spiral downhill from there, isn't it?
It is, I'm afraid.
Probably best not to do that.
You've got some tough years ahead.
Yeah, but I mean...
Stay away from any weird doctors.
Okay, that's a good one.
That's a good bit of
What about
advice.
the witch doctor who have already started... You've made a face there. It's already happening, isn't it? And maybe I'm on a path I can't actually get off.
Gabe, why are we doing this from a bed anyway?
That's so weird.
I don't know why we're here. No, well.
Anyway, stop it. This is the thing. What do we do at the end of it? We look forward to what we're going to do next.
This is it.
Inside the bot.
It's over,
finished.
I guess.
Everything's finished. It's all done.
We'll have to go and get jobs.
Yep. Well, I'll see you at the
Job centre.
I was going to say something. I'm not going to say that.
At the docks. What were you going to say?
I can't. I'm going to see you. We'll see you down at the docks again when we do favours for sailors.
Okay.
Sewing on buttons, telling stories, that sort of thing. I think we've got a couple of frigates in at the moment down at Portsmouth.
I'm not sure I could fit a whole frigate in.
You always have done before.
No, that's sewing.
Penny a time.
Telling all those stories, it's not quick.
Yeah, what you need to do is tell the same story for every 10 sailors, and then they think there's... So for 10 sailors, tell one story.
Surely you should have 10 stories and do them...
Well, that's only 100 people. There's a lot more than that. You need a lot more stories.
Then rotate them.
Oh, yeah. Rotate your stories, yeah.
Otherwise, they'll go, oh, what story did you get? And they'll have the same one. They'll come back and they'll beat you.
And they'll be furious.
And you have to tell more stories.
In their white trousers. You're so weird.
Yes. Me?
Yes.
You're the one who said, I'll see you down at the docks. I'm going to take a whole frigate. Okay.
So, okay, do you know what? It's been an amazing series. We want season 3. We definitely do. You need, guys out there, you need to be hashtagging We Want Season 3, hashtag BattleBots in everything you post. We want a massive push towards season 3. We're going to be doing some open applications on series 3.
Oh yeah, when Series 3 is announced.
When it's announced.
We're going to do a whole application thing.
And we need your support out there to actually say, let's really push it. So let's do hashtag We Want Season 3, hashtag BattleBots, and let's do a big old firing at ABC.
But in terms of Inside the Bot, what else have we got on?
On Inside the Bot, we're going to be doing something exciting. We're going to go back in time.
We are. Because in the UK here, we're just getting BattleBots Season 1.
Yeah, which is so weird. Normally we're ahead of them in time, but for this reason we've travelled back in time.
Yeah. So we're going to do 1 to 6. We're going to cover them.
That's going to be great.
What else are we going to do, Gabe? We're going to have some specials.
Oh, we're going to do some specials.
And hopefully have a John Reed special.
Well, John Reed special. John Reed's got an amazing beard at the moment. It's powerful.
More powerful than mine.
Just about. But yes.
And it's white.
It looks awesome.
So we're going to go and see the Wizard.
We're going to do a John Reed special, which is going to be brilliant.
The wonderful Wizard of Oxford.
He hasn't said yes to that yet, but
it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
We're going to talk to Ray. We're going to have a Ray special.
And again, he hasn't said yes, but Ray, we'd love to have a Ray special because that's going to be exciting. We should also... Who else do you want a special from?
We want iconic builders. Yeah, give us a shout. If there's someone you think they deserve a special...
Then we'll do
a special.
Definitely.
And Mouldy, stop emailing us asking for a special because it's not going to happen. You had your episode. No, stop it.
He's done it again.
Bad Mouldy.
He's just emailed him in again.
Again? It's ridiculous.
Just this minute. Mouldy, stop. What is wrong with you?
I had to change my number.
Yeah.
I don't know how he keeps getting it.
I keep giving it to him.
Oh, fuck's sake.
No, because he's all so nicely and he makes those eyes at me. When he looks at me like that, I think, oh, Mouldy. We might do a special on him. No, we don't need to. He needs to be a bit more of an iconic bot builder before he gets a special.
He hasn't even won a series of anything yet.
Exactly. And he hasn't been in the doldrums. He hasn't wandered around the robot wastes like John Reed has.
Exactly.
Getting more powerful. There you go.
He's John Reed the White now.
He's John Reed the White, isn't he? Gandalf. Do you know what? I think we'll leave it there.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. I've been Will Cedric.
I'm Gabe.
And this has been Inside the Bot.